What is up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of our discussion of the new show, Falcon and Winter Soldier. Not so new because it's episode 5. And what is this episode called? It's just called Truth. And if you like that, that's great. If you don't like it, tough, because that's the name of the episode. But anyway, hi, my name is Bailey. I'm always the host. I'll just say that.
Not always.
Take it for what you will.
There's room for improvement.
Damn.
I'm just kidding.
I'm just kidding. You've
There killed it every time.
There always is. And with me tonight is little Matthew right there with us.
Little Matthew. You know, we need nicknames on this show. I'm at this point I'm cool with anything. So Little Matthew, you know what, that'll work.
Little Matthew. You sound like
And in this corner, Little
show?
Matthew.
What's that kid's show? Little Bill. I'm picturing you as Little Bill, but Little Matthew.
I really had no clue where you were going with that.
Either that or I was thinking of one with a bear. Does that
Yogi
ring
Bear?
bells? No, but with a little, like he's little.
Little Bear.
Sorry guys, I'm moving shit around on my computer, so that's probably why I'm just like not focused. Anyway,
That's okay.
Hey, press play again. That's us. We're missing our third partner in crime, our triplet in crime. I don't know what that is when there's 3 people. Anyway, we're missing Omar tonight. The dude's sick. He's done. I don't know if he's gonna make it out. Just kidding. He just got the vaccine, so he's having some issues. And we hope for a safe, soon return for him. We'll pour one out for you at the end of this episode, Ohms.
At the end,
yeah,
though.
just holding this down, holding the fort down. Us two. Dynamic duo, you know.
The funny thing is, me and Bailey are both getting ours tomorrow, so if we didn't record this thing right now, we'd have just a blank episode because the show must go on. So even, I'd still
we'd post just nothing.
Yeah, I'd still open up OBS for like 30, 35 minutes and just two screens, 3 screens.
That's it. That's what these people need.
Also, Little Bear, real show. Good job, 1995.
Little Bear.
Yeah,
That's
Little Bear.
What I was trying to
5
think of.
seasons. He's got a little red scarf around his neck. Nice little red scarf.
It's all coming back to me.
He also looks like he has a friend with a blue scarf, or this is just Little Bear changing up his wardrobe on occasion, which I wouldn't put it past Little Bear.
Yeah, Little Bear. That can be your new nickname.
Little Bear. Oh, it's from Canada too. All right, I'm done.
Thank you. I was like, when are we going to get off this Little Bear shtick? Before we get into this episode and talking about everything and all the goodness that we're bringing to you guys, let me tell you where you can find us. And it's other places besides YouTube. It's on podcast services. And you can listen on Spotify, Breaker, Google Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Radio Public, and most importantly, Apple Podcasts. Because leave us 5 stars, leave us a review. Don't even leave us a review, just 5 stars. Just start
Keep it simple.
5 stars. And you can always find us on social media at Again Press and Instagram at Press Play Again. Talk to us on there. We'll talk back. That's all that even needs to be said. Just do it, okay? We're going to be releasing these episodes. These episodes we're about to end because this is the second to last episode for Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Isn't that crazy?
I know.
God.
It makes no sense to me because I feel like we literally started this like last week.
Yeah, it's gone by fast.
So yeah. Look at that. I'm letting my hair down. So yeah, we're gonna have these posted on Thursdays. I'm asking you because I always am never sure. It's either Wednesday or Thursday.
Yeah, we never really got in a rhythm with this. Sometimes it was the day. No, it's we just keep recording them on different days. But this one will be up Wednesday? Tomorrow,
all
April 21st
for you folks. And then the finale, maybe Wednesday, maybe Thursday. Who knows? It'll be around that time. So just join us for that. Subscribe to us. Leave comments on our YouTube and tell us what you would like us to review or talk about or discuss because we will gladly do it. I'm so glad every time I tell people what to do, you always have some sort of like example physically of what they're supposed to be doing.
Here's the thing, Bailey. I'm
You're
the
like,
visual aid.
A keyboard. Let me show you.
The people need to be able to see. They hear your beautiful voice explaining to them, this is what I do. But some people, Bailey, I don't know if you know this, some people are like visual learners.
I'm like trying to fix my hair and it's just like
it's just everywhere. It looks nice.
It's all right, guys. It's
But you know,
okay.
visual learners. So some people here leave comments. They're thinking in their head, "What does that really mean?" And I'm just here to, just in case you forgot, you can
I'm
type out
not
a
saying
comment.
I don't like it. I'm just saying it's
Good,
funny.
good.
Okay, so now we're gonna stop boring you guys. We're gonna start talking about why we're really here, and it's for this episode, Truth. And I want to ask you honestly, Matt, what did you think of this episode?
Truthfully,
Truthfully,
like as the theme of the episode, truth. Truthfully,
lay
Bailey.
it on me.
Truthfully, thought this was a freaking intense episode.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, it was. It's the penultimate episode. Normally, we
Right.
associate penultimate with second to last,
Crazy.
crazy shit. Normally,
Yeah.
the biggest budget. The episode does open with a crazy fight scene between Bucky, Falcon, and this John Walter. Call back to last
Walker,
week. Call back to last week, guys.
motherfricker. If
No,
you're
John Walker.
following, you know.
Very, very cool, very well choreographed fight scene. Maybe all the budget went in there. Honestly, yeah, there's not a lot of other like big action things that happen in this episode, but this
Not a
episode's all
lot of
about the
yeah.
all. This episode's all about the character development and kind of just reinforcing, I think, the themes of what this TV show, what this show has been about. You know what I mean? Like, it really does hammer home we finally go back to Isaiah in this episode. And I feel like that's the biggest, like, meatiest thing here that I think I've been waiting
Yeah,
for
like
since he was introduced in season 2. You know, you introduced this black super soldier and kind of the history that we know of what happened to him and how, you know, America was not as kind to this man as they were to Steve Rogers. And kind of now getting to go back and explore that more and have him tell his story and for us to really feel how fucked up it was, like to the point of when he tells his story of why like his actions in war like got him imprisoned when he came home instead of being hailed a hero. We're sitting there thinking, dude, that's the same fucking thing Steve Rogers did and he became Captain America. You know what I mean? Like
right.
it hits you heavy and that whole scene is so well acted on both ends. And so yeah, I mean, I agree. If you're looking at this episode in terms of like, yeah, the penultimate episode, it's not what you typically expect. But I feel like this show from the get-go has been set out. It seems like it's set out to kind of tell a more complicated MCU story, a deeper one, definitely one that's tackled like some racial issues that we've definitely seen reflected in our country over the last year, anyway. And I think it spent a long time. I think this was the longest episode. But it took
Yeah,
all
it
the time it
definitely was.
needed to hammer those home and set us up for a fucking crazy finale. So I'm all for it. I loved it. I mean,
Okay.
this is up there for, it's either my favorite or second favorite episode. I mean, I really liked it. And I feel like this episode was necessary. What about you, Bailey? What did you think? I turn the
I don't
question to
agree.
you. Wow.
I
Okay.
agree with a lot of what you said. I don't agree that this is one of my tops. Um
Okay.
I think this episode had a lot of meat to it, as if you would say.
Sure.
Like it was very juicy because
Very juicy.
it had a lot of information, it had a lot of dialogue, it was a lot of like people having conversations, seeing how relationships work, how this is building up where Falcon is getting to the point where he's like, I could be Cap. Which is very necessary. I think all the stuff with what was his name again? I'm sorry,
Isaiah?
the Isaiah. All the stuff with Isaiah, that scene with him talking with Falcon and Sam, I mean, might be the best part of the show, this episode. Cuz I think it was just the actor who plays Isaiah freaking killed it.
Dude, he's
But
awesome.
other than that, it is one of those things where it's like the show has just been so action packed and people kind of came into the show wanting it to be action packed. So having the one episode and it being the second to last episode as the one that's like, let's do all this exposition, let's just talk for an entire
Yeah.
episode. Doing it for the second to last episode is a little strange to me that they chose to do it there. I get why. I get what they were building up. I just think it's weird because the last two episodes have been my favorite episodes of the show. So I don't know, just, like, having this follow up what happened the last like, literally the last episode, um, Battlestar died. I couldn't think of his name.
Yes.
And it was like this and then you see Cap like, the way the entire last episode ended, and then coming into this, it just was kind of like, we're up here, we're coming back down here so we can get back up to here for the last episode, which is fine. It just wasn't what I was expecting. Um, so that's kind of how I felt about it. But we can start actually talking about the episode because I know we could talk about how we actually feel about it forever, and nobody needs that. So I do want to say, starting this out, the whole beginning part where John Walker, not Waller or whatever you're saying, because no.
Waller's
Um
a new one. I never said Waller.
yeah.
Wish I did though.
His whole panic attack in the beginning, phenomenal. It was like the best acting I'd seen from him this whole show.
Yeah,
And
he's
not to say he's a
actually.
bad actor. He's a great actor. It's just this was like I feel like the part where this was the episode really.
This is
I
where
feel
it
like his
shined.
acting could shine.
Yeah, I agree completely.
And
I never realized until, I mean, he, like you said, he's been fine. He's played the part like really good. I feel like we've kind of been along for the ride, and we've been in the camp that the show wanted us to be in terms of like, do you like him? Do you not like him? You pretty much don't like him. But like I've said throughout all this, he feels like you at least understand where he's coming from. He's still kind of a little bitch, right? But you kind of understand it.
well,
But yeah,
and
seeing him freak out, and we'll get to everything in the court too. But like, I mean, his acting it's great because
it
you
was top
really just kind of
notch.
see this man falling apart, and you can tell a difference too, right? Between when he took
Right.
the serum, like you can see it fucking with him.
Which did you know that he in real life, the actor, his dad is Kurt Russell?
Wait, I did know that.
Right? Isn't that
God, someone
crazy?
who told
And
me that.
Goldie Hawn's his mom, and I'm like, all right,
Who's
that's
Goldie Hawn?
fantastic. Oh, honey.
I'm looking up a
Oh.
picture. I
It's
see the
Kate, if it
disappointment.
helps, it's Kate Hudson's mom.
I spelled Han Hann. That's not right.
Oh, honey.
Goldie
This is
Jean
interesting.
Hawn is an American actress. What is
Yeah,
she from?
she's
Rowan and
super
Martin's
fam-
Laugh-In?
She's from Overboard. Have you ever seen that movie?
Haven't even heard of it.
Oh, honey. God, everyone who's listening to this, I swear to God, we know what we're talking about. I'm sorry he has no idea who Goldie Hawn is. Um, but yeah, no, she's great, and Kurt Russell's obviously great. They made a baby. This is what they got.
And this is what they
Fake
got.
Cap.
Fake
They got
Cap.
evil Cap. So thanks, I guess, Kurt Russell.
Thanks, Kurt.
But no, I think this scene was great, and then the whole fight with Bucky and
God.
Falcon kind of fighting with him. The whole part where he rips Falcon's wings off, I was like, holy
Dude.
shit, this is
Very,
crazy.
very violent again, too, right? Like Bucky's got like blood coming off his freaking face and knuckles.
Oh, there were
and
so many times where like
he's like spitting
John
shit. I'm like,
Walker
what the
was
hell is this?
going for the kill.
Dude,
Like,
that's his
there was
stance.
multiple times where he's like, all of a sudden he kills one dude and he's like, I'm murdering everyone. And you're like, all right, dude, like, let's chill.
He just wants everybody in that like pinned down place where he can just raise the shield up, and he's like, "This is my kill move, dude." Which interesting enough, because I was reading like one of those fun fact articles before we started recording. I think it was BuzzFeed, but it was one of the things it brought up was like that stance he keeps using, like Captain America's like most violent. You know, when we've talked about it before last week, how it's like that's where he had Tony kind of pinned down, but like this is his move of choice, which says
Yeah, it's like
says
his
something.
go-to.
Yeah. It's like, okay, man, maybe chill just a little bit, John.
There was also something I wanted to point out. I noticed in this whole scene, whoever was shooting this episode was really playing with the lighting and like the whole like imagery that they were going for at the end of last episode, where like you see him standing, like the shot's kind of coming from underneath and he's standing up, but he has like the shield with blood all over it.
Mhm.
They played a lot with that in this scene too. Like there was always light shining on John when he like had the shield, but it was still bloody and he was beating the shit out of people.
Yeah.
And you're just like, whoa, like the imagery they're playing with in this was like really cool. I very much enjoyed that. I also
Yeah.
just enjoy seeing Falcon and Bucky fighting together.
It's so cool, right?
It's just so cool.
Anytime anyone teams up in the MCU, it's hype. But they've got the
It's
chemistry.
something about them, yeah.
They got the banter, freaking on and off the court. You know what I'm saying? When they're
And then
fighting,
like after the fight, when like Bucky just like throws the shield by Sam, he's just like
Yeah.
he just puts it by Sam and he walks he puts it by Sam and just like
Sham.
walks away. And I find that so interesting.
Yeah, you get the vibe that Bucky is still. It's been this struggle the whole time, right? Like Bucky, there's some there's some part of inside Bucky that would have wanted this for himself, right? You got to imagine. Like,
But do
and I
you?
think,
Because at the end of the episode, you really get to even more of a sense of what the shield means to Bucky.
yeah,
Because he says the whole like, this shield is the only family I have left. And he just wants to see his family being taken care of the way it deserves to be taken care of. And I
right.
thought that was a really cool way. Like, I think Bucky's so far past the I want to be Captain America.
I think he
So,
is too. I think it's just that I think it's that little bit of it, right? Like it's not prevalent, but it's like him holding it. Like it feels good, I would imagine. Yeah,
yeah.
I actually have the
If you
shield
held it,
it's way over there. I don't feel like getting it right now. But same exact shield, same one. No, but you know what I mean? I imagine it feels really good, and it's that moment. Like when he's got it on, it feels like it fits, right? It's like putting on a beautiful tailor-made suit, Bailey. You know what I mean? Like it
I
is
get
just
that, but I feel like what I took from it more was that he it was pissed at Sam because he's like, literally, if you would have just taken the shield and
right.
like been Captain America, none of this would have happened. The shield wouldn't be as disgraced as it is. Like we
Wouldn't be
wouldn't have
covered in
had John
blood.
Walker. Like it wouldn't be anything like this. So for some reason, when Bucky's with the shield, like that's what I feel with him holding it. I'm like,
Yeah.
he's just pissed kind of thing.
Yeah, and
And the way
I
he
think it
like
is more
threw
of
it
that.
down there and stuff, like it was very clearly like, take it for the
Yeah.
love of God. Just take this damn shield.
Steve gave it to
What
you.
there's nothing else we can do. He took the super soldier serum. Like we're done. So just take the shield.
Also them
That's literally all you have to do.
they broke John Walker's arm too, didn't they?
They
That was
did in such a
pretty
brutal
fucked up.
way. I thought it was cool
I
as
mean, I
hell.
get it.
When
Do
it
what you got to do, but gee.
literally, I was watching it with my brother, and literally when that part happens, I'm just like, "Oh shit!" Like that was. I wasn't expecting them to just like crack his arm in half. It was pretty brutal. Um, what was I trying to think? I'm trying to look up real quick. There was something that was done.
In that scene?
Oh, I was trying to think of. So I'm jumping forward, but it's like after all this scene because we got to get off this scene. We could talk about the scene the whole time. After the scene, it's like when what's his name, Sam is meeting up with, I can't remember his friend in the military who he always kind of goes to for everything.
I think
What's his
it's
name? Joaquin.
yes,
His name's
Joaquin.
Joaquin. So he goes to Joaquin to like talk to him about like what's happened, like everything that happened and what's going on
Government
with the
took me
shield and
off,
with John
bro.
Walker and everything. And there's that part at the end of their conversation. First of all, he does that thing where he walks in and he's like having this really meaningful conversation. I had to write this down because I was like, this is so corny. But he was like, sometimes there's nothing to do until there's something to do. And I was just like, what? Like, and then Sam's like,
A little
you're
nugget of
surprisingly
wisdom.
deep. And I'm like, is he? But
Yeah,
whatever. It
every
was
now
just
and
like the
then
very corny, like superhero
I'm with you on that. Yeah,
Justice League kind of
it
thing.
feels so forced, right? It feels like it's just not something that he would actually say. It's like
Yeah,
you can
no.
tell like, oh, this is a line.
You can tell
Um
friggin' Joaquin's like, oh, I read that in a fortune cookie, so I had to make sure to say it to someone.
I had to remember to tell you, Sam. Also, fun fact while we're here on this scene, in the comics, Joaquin is the person that eventually becomes the next Falcon when Falcon becomes.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's probably what they're setting him up
Yeah,
to
because he
be.
said he obviously leaves the wings with him. He says keep them.
Well, I thought that was cool too, though, because that was also his way of like saying keep them. And in my mind, I'm like, this is the last time we were gonna see Falcon as Falcon.
Yeah.
Like, it's literally
Sure
gonna be the
seems
last
like it.
time. Which I find really interesting that they're doing that in this show. Like the last time you're seeing Falcon as Falcon is in this specific TV show, and after this, he'll be Captain America. Which I guess is what the more I think about it is probably what I should have expected. I don't know why I just didn't. I was like, I want to see him with the wings again. I'm just too used to
You got
it.
a whole TV show of him, Bailey. You go back to
I
episode 1, you
know.
rewatch it.
It's by finally am falling in love with him. Not
We
that I
also
wasn't,
we also
because I
still don't
love
know.
Falcon, but yeah, yeah, I know. But
We
I
assume though.
I know we do all this part and then it gets to the point where I think this is the point,
I think
or
I know
it
what
might
you
not
mean.
be, where we flash to the court scene.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Um the whole
Which
performance in the court with John Walker, phenomenal. Again, one of the best parts of this episode. I think his acting like shines through in this part. And seeing how he's just so easily losing his temper is like really terrifying to me for some like out of all the villains in this freaking show, he is the villain I'm the most scared of. I think he's the
As you should
most
be.
intimidating villain. So seeing this scene really drives that home and it almost makes me appreciate John. Like I keep slowly just appreciating John Walker more and more and more. So I think this was the scene that like drove it home for me where I was like, oh shit, like this is gonna be really cool.
Right?
So
Because so do I. I mean, I've kind of, like I was saying before, I've felt where he's coming from this whole time. And I think this is the most you really feel it when he's there and they're stripping him of everything, right? We know that
mhm.
before he was Captain America, he did all kind of was in Iraq, right? He had 3 Medal of Honors, all this other stuff, and they are stripping all of it from him. And he has that
And
line. It's something like I did everything y'all told me to do. Like y'all created me basically.
yeah, he's like,
And
y'all
it's
created me.
and
And
it's
it's
like
true.
yeah, it's true. It's like you feel in that moment what he's getting at. It's like he keeps saying that it's not easy to be Captain America. And granted, he's going about it the total wrong way, as we've
I
seen.
know.
But he's right in that sense that there is this huge weight on his shoulders doing this, and he's probably not cut out to be Captain America, as we've kind of seen. But you see the mental struggle that he's going through, like, and then compounded by the fact that he's on super serum drugs now, and
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
Shot
That
up.
that that scene was just very, very important, and I think really showed that character in a way that we kind of needed to be with him at going into the last episode, where we're assuming things are going to get nuts with him.
Speaking of very important for this episode, Julia motherfucking Louis Dreyfus. Oh my god. When it's oh oh my god, it was done so beautifully. I love that woman so much. And you just hear the heels clicking down the hall and I'm like, who's this going to be? And then I was immediately like, is this going to be old girl from WandaVision? No, that wouldn't make sense.
Oh
So
my
then I was
god,
like, this isn't going to be
Agatha.
that. Yeah, I was like, oh, maybe it's Agatha because like I don't know why I'm like, oh, witch. She's walking with the heels. I don't know. I was like trying to rationalize it in my head,
I
and
mean,
then it
cool.
shows Julia Louis Dreyfus's face, and I legit just like I let out a little yelp. I was like,
Uh,
huh, oh my god. I was like so excited. And she was phenomenal in that part. Like super portrayed whoever she's supposed to be portraying. She did it beautifully. I
so
now think she's the power broker.
okay, interesting. So she could be. She
Oh wow,
also well. So here's the thing. As I'm reading about this, I'm trying to figure out who she is. What's her name? It's something that starts with an A.
Valentina
Or a
Allegra.
V. Yes, a V. Do you get A's and V's mixed up, Bailey? Because it's like upside down V and
I am
A.
dyslexic,
Because that
but
happens
it's
to
mostly
me.
with numbers. So
She's from the comics. She ends up being like a double agent. I'm not even going to get into all of it because I'd rather be surprised.
interesting.
And but she works for Shield eventually. And in the comics, who do you think her romantic love interest is? I'll give you one guess.
Nick Fury.
You got it. You
You're
got it.
lying.
You got it,
I was
dude.
like, I was like, who would be just as insane as her, but on the good side? Not that I mean, she could be good. She just seems like she's gonna be bad. But like, I was like, who could she be? And also just the thought of them two together in a movie or a show at some point.
And it's
Samuel L.
coming.
Jackson
You
and
know
Julie
it's
Louis
coming.
Dreyfus. They have 3 names each. Like, well,
Three each.
L's not a name, but they're just they're just like meant to be together. So now I'm super excited. I still kind of hope she's the power broker somehow. Like,
Well,
I hope that's like a twist they do with it.
so have you suspected at all somebody else to be the power broker?
Um, no, I feel like the only other person I've suspected is Sharon Carter, but I think everybody slightly suspects that, but I don't
That's who
really
I was
think
getting
she
at.
is.
It seemed too obvious, but I think that it's leading more into that. The main reason I think that, and this is kind of pushing forward into this episode, I think it's close to the end, but the one time we see her, it's her talking on the phone to that dude from the first episode, right? The one that was in the plane or whatever, that when Falcon was killing everybody and throwing him out, the guy that lived and that showed up at the end.
Yeah.
And they say when he gets there with the flag smashes that the power broker sent him to kill the Falcon, to help kill Falcon. And it's like, so it almost seems too obvious now. If they're trying to pull, like, they're trying to make it a twist, now it's too obvious. It can't. Then it's either they're playing so far into it that they want you to think that it's her, or it really is her, and it's like it's not even really supposed to be much of a surprise when we find out next week. All the cards are there for it to be her. I think it'd be really cool. But again, it's kind of so in your face now that I'm trepidatious. I'm like, I don't believe it yet.
Trepidatious.
You like that word? That's a good one.
After the Julia Louis-Dreyfus episode kind of went down for me a little, if I'm being honest. But it's just because we get super slow parts from here on out.
There's a lot of boat work.
Of dialogue. Yeah, and like that's not even what I'm. First of all, I don't like what they did with Zemo. I think the way they ended his story was
a cool
really
scene,
lame.
but I agree.
It's a cool scene, but it's so like my brother Mike was talking to me about this. He was like, it's such a cliche superhero movie part. Like he goes to shoot the gun and then the gun's not loaded, and then he shows that he's really a good guy, and then they arrest him, and it's like that's cool, but like they do so many daring things in this show already. I'm not saying Bucky should have killed him. I'm just saying like there wasn't like a cooler way for them to do all of that.
The reason
I don't know.
The reason why I liked that is because earlier on, what was it, episode? I think it was the first episode, right? When he's in therapy, and she's explaining the 3 rules that he has. It's either rule 1 or rule 2 is like you do not hurt or kill anybody. Like that is part of making amends or whatever.
I'm more just upset with the fact that Zemo escaped the last episode. You don't see him again, and then he escaped just to be captured immediately.
Yeah.
And like he looked like he knew it was gonna happen. I don't know. I'm just like, I'm sure there's more that goes into it. I feel like they just rushed through his story because they got what they needed out of Zemo, and now they're like, we don't really need him for the rest of the show. So like, we got to get him out somehow.
Yeah, I imagine Zemo's now being saved for something coming up. Because that prison that they're taking him to, I'm pretty sure is the one from where they were locking people up in Civil War. Like I think Falcon and Wanda were both in there, so that's where he's going.
I know. All I'm saying really is that like clearly, if any of you guys out there have been following along with us, I have loved Zemo in this show.
I know he's been so good.
So all I wanted was like a bomb ass ending for him, and it was like an okay ending. So that was like one thing that was a little bit of a downer for me, but I totally trust that they're gonna bring it somewhere cool. So that's why I'm not like super hard on it. It's just I kind of was like, this is really what we were like rushing to get to Zemo for. Like I don't know. It's really cool for Bucky's character story, and like for like having Wakanda still involved is super cool. It just I don't know. I was really enjoying badass Zemo.
I know.
So it just didn't feel badass anymore.
I know, and it does certainly feel like this was it for him for the show. I wouldn't like. I'm not expecting he's going to be back in the last episode, but weirder things have happened. I do also like how what's her name, Ao was. She was like, oh, by the way, like stay away from Wakanda for a while. Like people clearly don't want to see. I feel like that's interesting. You know, with after everything that happened with Zemo, so it kind of makes sense.
I liked that too.
Real quick thing I forgot to say about Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
You're so close. You're getting there. Julia Louis-Dreyfus. There
that's
you
good.
go.
Yeah, you said the name right. There were like it was basically like all but confirmed that she is in Black Widow, and that's very interesting to think about. Because
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so because the way she's walking down the hallway, it's very much like this is supposed to be somebody you know.
For a second, I thought it was gonna be Black Widow. And then like for a second, I thought I was like, she's dead. I know she's dead. I don't get why I jumped to these conclusions. I'm like, at first, I immediately was like, it's Black Widow, and then I was like, no, wait, she's dead. It's got to be Agatha. And then I was like, wait, no, that makes no sense. So. Clearly, it must just be Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
That's my third
or
choice.
Elaine. Either
or
way.
Elaine from Seinfeld. But yeah, so that kind of makes a little more sense why it was kind of shown as like a reveal. Even though she obviously has star power to the point of like her popping up is like, whoa, hey, I know her.
Right, which is just, it's unfortunate that like we couldn't see Black Widow before.
It is interesting. It's interesting because you clearly will have more context once we see Black Widow, which will be fun for this.
So moving on though to the boat. We
They
get
fixed the boat.
like
They wrenched
like
the pipes.
15 minutes. We get 15, 20 minutes of them just fixing the boat. Cool, whatever. You get to see Sam and Bucky bonding.
They talked about Grand
I th-
Isle.
I know, Grand Isle, home people. Sup? Shout out
That's where
to the
Bailey lives
fam
right
in
now. That's
Grand
where she is.
Isle. I'm not there, but I do have family that lives in Grand Isle, so that's pretty cool. It's very though like we're Cajun and we fix boats, and I'm like, yes, that is what they do
Pretty much.
most of the time. But they also have normal jobs. But they are also always fishing. So, but yeah, it's like it was fine. Like that's all I really have to say about it though. Like it was sweet. It was sweet and it was fine. It just wasn't action packed, which is fine. Again, it's just not what I was expecting. Um the
Yeah.
one thing I will say though is the montage, the training montage
Oh
for
my
him.
God.
It was cool, but it was weird timing because if you're supposed to believe that he's training at the same time that Carly is planning this giant attack, so are you supposed to just believe he's trained for 2 days and he's like Captain America ready, or is this going on over a month? Like, you
um,
know what I mean?
I assume that because we've seen how badass Falcon already is, he doesn't need a lot of training to be Captain America ready.
Right.
I think I guess trick that he needs to learn is how to catch the shield, since the entire montage is just that
Him
him
catching the
learning how to
shield. I
catch
know.
it. So that's why it was a little more believable to me. I also kind of like how it showed how like Falcon is straight up like I just said, we've seen him fight. He's badass and he can't catch the shield. And so I don't even know if they intended for this, but in my head, it made me just respect John Walker a little bit
Yeah.
more, because he clearly does have like immense physical strength before he even took the super soldier
Yeah. I
serum.
mean, he was kicking both of their asses in the beginning of the
Yeah, the
episode.
fact that he could catch this, like throw the shield and catch it, and that's something that we are watching Falcon takes presumably a little bit of time to even learn how to do. I just thought that was a cool little touch. I don't think it's something that they tried to hone in on, and I think a lot of people won't even really think that much about that, but it just connects
No,
everything better,
I
which I
agree.
like.
I literally thought the same thing whenever he was like struggling catching this. I was like, damn, John
Yes.
Walker was like already doing really well
Yeah,
with this.
right?
So that's kind of cool for his character and also makes it way more believable that he's gonna be a threat at some point because now he's a super soldier, but also has the intense training of an actual soldier. So I think it's cool how they showed that throughout this show and then also highlighted it when he was trying to train. I just think it's weird. I just thought it was weird timing. I almost just wish I'd like I almost I get what they were doing with Sam's character, but they've already been building it up so much. So seeing him train, it didn't really feel necessary to me. Like
Uh,
we've seen him in action this whole show. And like we've seen him be this good guy, be this beacon of hope, be the person that wants to do right. So they did all that beautifully, and then you get the montage, which is still cool, and I'm still okay with it. I just was, I don't know. It was one of those things where I was like, okay, like he's training. That's cool. But then it's like the whole
Yeah,
Carly thing happened so shortly after. I'm like, so did he train for like 2 days? I don't know. Like
yeah.
it just
See,
seemed a little quick. That's all I'm saying.
yeah. But for me, I thought it was like insanely hype, and I was,
It was hype as hell. It was hype as hell. It just was weirdly placed, is more
yeah.
what I mean.
I think
But I
I
think it was
think
hype.
it's going hand in hand with Sam's decision making, though. So that's what's going on, because we talked about it at the beginning of the episode, but somewhere in between all these scenes that we're talking about is the scene with Sam and Isaiah, and
Mhm.
that's a very difficult scene for Sam in particular, because we talked about how Isaiah kind of gives his whole story and what happened to him, but the real most like kind of crazy thing that's said at the end is how he looks at Sam and he's just like, they're never gonna let a black man be Captain America. And then what does he say? He says something like, "Oh, a black man
A
would be
black man wouldn't
stupid,
even want to. Well, he was like
would be
a
stupid to want to be
dignified black.
Captain America."
Yeah, yeah, or
You know what I
something
mean?
like
Like he would
that.
just be like, "Why would anybody want to? Like, look at everything that has happened.
Why would
Look
a
at what
black
they
man
did
want
to
to? I
me."
know it.
And I think that introduces this whole new problem for Sam, that it looks like he's going to become Captain America, but that's such an interesting question to hang on there when we're about to see the main character like take up that mantle. We think now like something's going to have to be different. Something
Yeah,
is not just going to go, it's not going to be the smooth transition to like, oh yeah, I'm the new Captain America. Like, and Sam does have that awesome line where he's like, we have to remember the past or whatever, we have to move past it. But I think that it just brings such an interesting question now to the mantle of Captain America that we weren't necessarily thinking about before this show. And now we have to watch Sam really wrestle with it when he
But isn't that
picks up the
something
shield next
cool?
episode.
Isn't that something cool this show is like bringing to the Marvel
Oh,
universe?
yeah.
Is like something that's never been discussed, and how much this show is trying to remind you of like, or make you feel like this is in the real world. Why not bring a real world problem into it? And it's doing it in probably the most respectful, elegant way to bring something like that into a universe, but really make it mean something and really make you think about it in this really complex way that nobody's really ever even thought of.
Yeah,
And
it's
I respect the shit out of them being able to do this properly, because I feel like it needs to be done more, but it sometimes can be done in a way that doesn't get it across the way it needs to be getting got the way it needs to get across. Um,
there it is.
and especially this show being like one of the most watched TV shows in the world right now, this is even more important. Like for so many kids that are watching it and stuff. It's damn, just the message it brings is awesome. So I mean, this whole scene with Sam and Isaiah is like so pivotal to everything that Sam as the new Cap will stand for. It'll be like how Cap was a beacon of hope for the world. It's like Sam is one of us that is a beacon of hope for everyone. Like he's not the super soldier. He's a normal person.
Yeah,
So
he's
it's really
going.
cool.
Yeah, I agree. I agree completely. And I think that it's just like I said, going into the last episode now, you just know that it carries so much more weight than we ever would have thought. Like in Endgame, it's like, oh my God, Falcon is going to be the new Captain America. Like that's so cool. And now we've had basically 5 to 6 hours of storytelling showing us why it wasn't that simple. And even Bucky had that line where he basically was just like, we never thought about what it would be like for a black man to become Captain America. And I think he apologizes too. And
Yeah,
it's
he
just
did.
it's
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 just cool.
intense. It's really cool. It's really cool, like world building and storytelling and bringing so many, like you said, Bailey, like modern issues that we're dealing with right now into the superhero genre. And we've seen it done before, not this specifically, but how we bring in real world problems, and that always strengthens it. And this is no exception. Like this is stuff that
Right.
we need to talk about, and it's strengthening these characters so much. And
Yeah.
God, like we said, best scene in the episode. Like
Yeah.
it
By
carries so
far.
much weight, and I can't wait to see.
Um Speaking of also though, another thing I'm not super high on is the flag smashers. Kind of in general
What else is new?
in this show. I've yet to find them intimidating.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's just hard to find them intimidating. And then we get this whole scene, this really weird scene where she just like sends out a message and then calls or whatever. So she does, I said whatever really fucking weird just now.
Whatever.
But she like, I don't know, she like whistles and then they all just slowly start walking almost like zombies. Oh, that was really good. Um they start just like walking like zombies towards her in the park. And I'm like, what the hell is that? Like, this is so
I know. I
weird.
was like, did they
I
not
get
know
what
where
they're
she was
trying
at?
to do. It just didn't come across cool. It came across weird and creepy. And I was like, okay. And then they do this whole like taking over, I guess, not the Senate for them, but just like some type of
Whoever these
important
military people,
room.
whoever that makes the decisions
Yeah.
about John Walker,
So they
their
take
whole
all that
room's red and
over.
black
And
now.
then of course you see Sam open what you're presumably supposed to believe is going to be his new suit, and you
Oh
don't even
man.
get a glimpse of it. And I'm like, why not just end the episode with just a shot of him in the shoot in the shoot in the suit?
Because
I can't
Bailey,
speak
because
today.
one of the first shots of next week's episode is going to be him in this motherfucking
The thing
suit.
is, though, if it's not, then they did it a disservice. They did.
I agree, but I don't see how we're not. I think next, like the finale, the last episode, he's going to be in this fucking suit.
We'll see. I mean, if we don't see that, we'll see freaking John Walker opening up a shield manufacturing type process. Like it's like, oh, I'm building shields for everybody. I know it's just for him, but when they were showing it, I was like,
If this works, I'll give everyone one.
oh man, he's opening up his own business.
Oh man, did you get
But
or it maybe it wasn't intentional, but the like ding ding, I was like, this is an Iron Man fucking
oh
reference,
yeah, I know, I
100%.
totally, because that part is so pivotal in Iron Man. So
Well,
like,
yeah, He's
because
just
they
he's
even
building his own shield. Like it's
yeah,
he's crazy. He looks delusioned, but it is cool as shit that he is
it's
trying
cool
to
as
do
shit.
this.
It's cool as shit. I mean, I'm super looking forward to seeing what happens with that the next episode. I think they although this episode was slow, I think they're building up a lot to be finished out in the next episode. So I hope it's done properly. And I believe it will be. And I think it's gonna be cool as hell. So if we better see this is what I'm hoping. We immediately see Sam in his new suit. Immediately. Like the
100%.
first flash, I don't even want credits. I don't even want the intro that you usually get. I just want it to be Sam in his suit. That's all I want immediately. Second, immediately after that, I want an assembly line just of a bunch of shields being made. And John Walker's like, I'm selling them 30 bucks a pop. We're all going to be Captain America. Because he's like, if I can't be Captain America, everybody's Captain America. That's
Oh,
the second
that
thing I want to
reminded me.
see.
He kept saying like he's still Captain America, which is also creepy, insane. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they
No,
no, they stripped that
100%.
of you, John. But he's like,
He's like,
I'm
no, I'm Captain.
yeah.
Call me the captain. No, I'm kidding.
Um,
But yeah, no, I think that the next episode's gonna be great. I think it's gonna be a great finale. So I'm excited, but I'm also just sad because we've only had 6 episodes
I
to
know
talk
it's
about
it's
this.
gone by so fast, but all the episodes have been long. Like we said, this was the longest one. This show has just been like incredible. Like I don't
Oh
know.
yeah.
I was expecting a lot from it, and for me, it's so far it's lived up to it completely. I know
Yeah.
this was kind of a slower episode, like we said, and it's a weird timing for that. But these, you know what, these Disney Plus shows can do whatever the fuck they want. It seems like, you know, they really are
Hey.
just mini movies, and the
Yeah.
fact that we assume, I don't think next week's episode is gonna be the first one to buck the trend and be like 20 minutes or something.
Buck.
Buck, you like that?
Yeah.
But it's, you know, I expect we have like an hour left, and just think if this was an MCU movie, you would get the kind of calm before the storm.
Exactly.
So I'm down with it.
But we are gonna discuss the storm with you guys next week because
That's
that's gonna be the
good.
finale. That's what I was going for. So don't forget, come back. You're gonna hear this on Wednesday. Yeah,
Omar,
we
come back.
decided on Wednesday. Omar, come back to us so we can discuss this with you. We need to talk about this finale. The people need to hear what you think. Um, so next week this week you got this episode on Wednesday. You'll hear this on Wednesday when you have the episode clearly. The following week, we're going to be discussing the finale, most likely on Wednesday as well. Come back for that shit. And also, we're going to be talking Mortal Kombat, the new movie.
Fatality.
Baby and boy, I'm ready. Um, oh god. See, I told you, he just always has to do some type of like performance for everyone. No, it's great. It really is just look at that. And he fails. So yeah, come back for all of that. Follow us on social media. You know, keep it right, keep it tight. And sometimes there's nothing to do until there's something to do.